A number of people who have claimed that they've been abducted by extraterrestrials also claim that they've witnessed what they say are alien-human hybrids. And this would indicate that the extraterrestrials have a program of manipulating people and their DNA to genetically alter us slightly.
At the end, what the fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities. The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed, and of course this has a big impact on your identity.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
And perhaps this has been going on for thousands of years, and that even as we are today, we've been manipulated subtly by extraterrestrials, and this is still going on.
Is it possible that there are already aliens living among us, and that our governments are fully aware of this?
It's a question a lot of folks have been asking for decades. Is there intelligent alien life? And if so, has the government been covering it up?
In 2013, former Canadian Minister of National Defense, Paul Hellyer, declared that the United States government and other governments around the world are working with organized groups of extraterrestrials.
Why do you say that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over our heads?
Well, because I know that they are. And they've been visiting this planet for thousands of years. And there is what is called a federation of these people.
Paul Hellyer was a former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada and a former Minister of Defense of Canada. He was able to talk to a lot of important people within the US and Canadian system. And it was his opinion, based on the sources that he had, that there are many groups that are here visiting us.
Paul Hellyer is not the only government official to come forward with alleged knowledge of a federation of extraterrestrial races.
Recently, the former Israeli chief of space security, Haim Eshed, came out and said that there is a galactic federation, and that indeed many world leaders know of and are in talks with delegates of the Galactic Federation.
Should the sensational claims made by Paul Hellyer and Haim Eshed be believed, that close encounters of the fifth kind are occurring at the highest levels of government around the world, and with entire factions of extraterrestrial beings, ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and argue that recent revelations from world leaders may be preparing mankind for a groundbreaking event. Full disclosure.
Well, it might sound like science fiction, but a new UFO probe is being taken very seriously at the highest levels of the US government. And it seems Donald Trump is preparing to release classified files kept top secret for decades.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As powerful powers watch another launch from Earth, others have their eyes on the skies for a very different reason.
Look at that thing! It's rotating.
These videos.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
From US Navy pilots like Ryan Graves have changed the conversation about UFOs, now called UAPs. Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Everything about it was strange.
like this footage from Afghanistan. 4 hovering dots over a military base filmed as 2 are hit by a missile. They seem to explode, then reappear undamaged. What's going on and
why the secrecy?
It's technology so advanced, it defies our scientific understanding.
Our best technology, the F-16, which can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
This is a national security issue, that if there is such technology out there, we're not the only country that might have access to it.
It's really no big deal and there's nothing there. Why hide it from the American people?
Republican Nancy Mace is chairing the US Congress hearing into unidentified anomalous phenomena and asking what is being kept secret.
I'm not going to name names, but there are certain individuals who didn't want this hearing to happen because they feared what might be disclosed.
The Pentagon, the military, the CIA is accused of decades of cover-ups.
Do you believe, just for the record, that the federal government, any part of the federal government, is knowingly concealing evidence about UAPs from the public?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yes. Yes.
It sounds crazy, but Democrat Jared Moskowitz says it's not coming from conspiracy theorists.
Now, these are pilots, these are military, these are folks with serious backgrounds.
People like retired US Navy Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet.
To your knowledge, have any USOs ever outpaced our submarines?
Yes, ma'am.
At what magnitude?
I don't have the exact speed.
Former head of the Pentagon Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, Luis Elizondo.
We're talking about technologies that can outperform anything we have in our inventory.
And Michael Gold, a member of NASA's UAP study team.
The truth is out there. We just need to be bold enough and brave enough to face it.
And fronting a separate Senate hearing,
by way of introduction, I'm John Kozlowski.
The head of AARO, the recently established All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which investigates sightings old and new. Since May last year, 757 new reports. Of those, 21 can't be rationally explained.
I am drawn to tough scientific problems, which is what brought me to AARO and the UAP mission.
Politicians are sitting up and taking notice.
That there is something out there. The question is it ours? Is it someone else's? Or is it otherworldly?
Many believe the key to the top secret files is about to return to the White House.
A lot of people are very interested in the footage of UFOs. The Pentagon has released a few videos, and there's been anecdotal reports from fighter pilots. So a lot of people want to know, will you help push the Pentagon to release more footage, which a lot of people claim is available?
Oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I would do that. I'd love to do that. I have to do that. But they also are pushing me on Kennedy. And I did release a lot, but I had people come to me and beg me not to do it. But I'll be doing that very early on. But I would do that.
When these sorts of people, whether it's a former CIA director, whether it's a professor at Harvard, whether it's a Canadian defense minister, whether it's the co-founder of Israel's space program, when those sorts of people at that sort of level, with those sorts of backgrounds, start saying this, I think the world should be sitting up and paying more attention. All of these people, whether it's Haim Eshed, John Brennan, Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, Avi Loeb, Paul Hellyer, all of these people are playing a part in changing the world. We're going to have to rethink and redo everything. Politics, science, religion, technology, economics, the military, philosophies, everything will be altered by the knowledge that we're not alone in the universe. And it seems to me every time one of these stories breaks, we're getting closer and closer, maybe, to that moment.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this: superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy.
Aliens might be living among us, disguised as humans. This is all coming from Harvard research. They just released a study. It was created to offer an unconventional explanation for all the UFO sightings that have been reported in recent weeks, months, years. Their research explores the possibility that aliens could be living here on Earth, either underground or underwater, and perhaps walking, maybe even working with us every day, disguising themselves as humans. Now that's a hot take, Derek Kevron.
Nevertheless, science is all about evidence. We should be humble and accept the data as a guide towards what's out there.
It sounds like an old science fiction movie, but a study out of Harvard finds that aliens might be living among us. Harvard University's Human Flourishing Program speculates UFOs may be spaceships visiting alien friends planted on Earth, planted right here on Earth, that is. Those aliens then are disguised as humans trying to fit in. Study examines 4 different alien theories, okay, including technologically advanced ancient human civilization, plus ETs from the future. The study says aliens could either live among us, underground, or inside the moon.
Inside?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what to do with that.
The moon is a giant alien egg. In the 12th Doctor episode, Kill the Moon, we learn that the Earth's moon is actually a giant alien egg. Eventually, after a lot of moral debate surrounding the life of said egg...
Doctor, wait.
Will that do it? 100 nuclear bombs set off right where they are, right on top of a living, vulnerable creature.
We see the moon hatch into a beautiful space dragon butterfly thing. It then somehow immediately itself births a moon egg that's the exact same dimensions as the previous moon.
It laid a new egg.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
If invasion and takeover of the planet were the goal of these extraterrestrial biological entities, they are so advanced, it could be done easily. Therefore, invasion and takeover of the world cannot be their goal. And if that is not the goal, then what is the goal?
Who are we? Once we were called the Spirit of the Mountain, Father Sun, Mother Moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, the Green Man, then gods, demons, angels, poltergeists, aliens, extraterrestrials, leptons, quarks. The words change. We do not change.
Aliens. Aliens. Some people, like my colleague Matt Walsh, say that aliens are real, ET comes down, abducts people, prowls around, little green men. And some people are correct, such as yours truly, who observes that ET is fake, it's not real. We are not alone in the universe, but as far as corporeal beings go with rational souls, we are alone. And that when people see these unidentified flying objects, and when they think they encounter the little green man, they're most likely just talking to demons. And it's amazing, people make fun of me for this, but the reason people make fun of me for this point of view is because they are moderns, they're modern secular libs, and aliens they're just demons for modern lib people who can't imagine that there's such a thing as metaphysical reality. So it's for people who are materialists, who who think that everything that's real has to be flesh and blood, which obviously isn't true. Some of the most important things in life are not material: hopes, dreams, love, mathematics. There are plenty of things that are metaphysical, the moral order, but we have convinced ourselves in this unsophisticated day and age that it's all got to be physical, and so even the celestial beings have to be physical. They can't be merely spiritual. Now, there's a fella by the name of Luis Elizondo. This is reported by the New York Post. Luis Elizondo is a former intelligence officer with the Department of Defense. He claims he was the director of AATIP, the Pentagon's UFO program from 2010 to 2017. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has defended this guy and said he actually was pretty prominent in the government working on these things. Here's what he had to say.
I remember the conversation very well. This is a person I respected tremendously, very, very senior person. He's told me, he said, "Lou, I want you to stop doing this." I said, "Okay, sir, I certainly can, but may I ask why?" And he says, "Well, we already know what it is." Now, at that moment, I honestly thought maybe it was our own technology. I was running up against some super uber secret SAP, and they were telling me to stop. And I said, "Okay, sir, so it's ours?" And he said, "No, that's not what I'm saying." And he said, he asked me point blank, "Have you read your Bible lately?" And I wasn't quite sure where he was going with that. And I said, "Well, sir, I think I know what it says. Where are you going with this?" And he said, "Well, then you would know that these things are demonic, and we should not be pursuing them." Yeah, and he wasn't kidding. That's exactly how he felt.
So this is a Pentagon. This is a Department of Defense official saying, "Stop looking at UFOs because they're demonic."
Correct.
When you look at UAPs or UFOs, UAP is unidentified aerial phenomena. One of the things that's interesting about them is that they have characteristics that defy physics. Number one, gravity doesn't affect them. They go up and down, sideways and forwards and backwards, and they are not affected by gravity, and they don't have any visible means of propulsion. These things go 23,000 miles per hour through the atmosphere and have right-angle turns. That can't happen according to physics. Everything on the inside of the craft would be destroyed. They go transmedium as far as travel goes. They'll be going through the air without any deceleration. They'll hit the ocean and go at the same speed. They've been clocked going through the air, hitting land, and going underneath the earth at the same speed. What that tells you is that these are not physical. The author of the Mothman prophecies, John Keel, said this: "The UFOs do not seem to exist as tangible manufactured objects. They do not conform to the natural laws of our environment. They seem to be nothing more than transmogrifications, tailoring themselves to our abilities to understand. The thousands of contacts with the entities indicate they are liars and put on artists. The UFO manifestations seem to be, by and large, merely minor variations of the age-old demonological phenomenon." Looks like they're demons.
And it's been reported in a couple interviews that you've mentioned there's a federation of alien species. Do all of the alien species kind of work together, or is there warring species that war with each other?
Well, I only know about the Galactic Federation, and I don't know much about it, so I shouldn't talk about it. But they are concerned about what's going on in the world, and they have been working through individuals. They'll pick out a few individuals and visit them, or talk to them telepathically, or send information to them by channeling.
But I think this is one of the great questions in physics and philosophy, is where are the aliens? Maybe they're among us, I don't know. Some people think I'm an alien. Not true. Not true.
But maybe we are alien.
Of course I'd say
maybe
that.
We are alien.
I believe that it's demonic. I think all of the evidence indicates this.
Some people claim that by allowing themselves to be put into an hypnotic trance, they are acting as a channeling device. in which the extraterrestrial being speaks through them. The following is an actual sampling of those messages. We come from the Interplanetary Confederation of Solar Systems, and our purpose is to aid our brother man on the planet Earth as the new age dawns. The teacher that was known to you as Jesus was able to use many more of the abilities than the people of this planet. Unfortunately, man upon planet Earth has misinterpreted the meaning of this man's life. He was no different from any of you. He was simply able to remember certain principles. These principles may be realized by anyone at any time. It is only necessary that you avail yourself to our contact through meditation in order to begin to re-realize that which is rightfully yours, the truth of the creation and the truth of your position in it. Know ye not that ye are gods? We have been puzzled at times by the inability of the people in general of this planet to be awakened to this simple truth. We find that the state of hypnosis brought about by the evolution of thought of the people of this planet is so great that it is necessary for him to maintain a constant awareness of his spiritual nature with meditation. Man is now in the transitional period before the dawn of a new age. With peace, love, brotherhood, and understanding on man's part, he will see a great new era begin to dawn.
What we are experiencing now is the next step, where we are now learning that we are not alone and that they soon will come back, because that is what they promised in the ancient texts. The Christians are waiting for the return of Jesus. The Jews are waiting for the return of the Messiah. The Islamic community is waiting for the return of Muhammad. The idea of this return did not originate with any of those religious figures, but it in fact originated with the promise by extraterrestrials that they would return in the future.
Tradition tells us that the army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to arise from inner earth and therefore dominate the surface world.
We are now at this special turning point in our history and the timeline of planet Earth, where the reptilians and the other extraterrestrials will announce themselves.
In his book, Messengers of Deception, Vallée says, an impressive parallel can be made between UFO occupants and the popular conception of demons. And in his book, Confrontations, he writes, the medical examinations to which abductees are said to be subjected, often accompanied by sadistic sexual manipulation, is reminiscent of the medieval tales of encounters with demons. He also made this statement: I believe that when we speak of UFO sightings as instances of space visitations, we are looking at the phenomenon on the wrong level. We are not dealing with successive waves of visitations from space. We are dealing with a control system. And he states, UFOs are the means through which man's concepts are being rearranged. They are engaging in a worldwide enterprise of subliminal seduction.
Jacques Vallée, at least at that time when he wrote that book, was an agnostic. Interesting that he comes to basically the same conclusions I do as a Christian from my research. And he said about UFOs, they're real, but they're not physical. They're messengers of deception. And this was based on his research of about 20 years. They seem to be psychologically preparing, setting us up for some ultimate delusion that is too horrible even to imagine as yet. I would agree with that.
Something happened in the days of Noah, and the most sinister and bizarre of all the things that happened
was this intermarriage between the angelic race and the human race. And of course, the mastermind behind it all was another angel, a fallen angel, Lucifer. Now we believe that as they came in those days, we may very well be on the edge of another invasion from outer space. That Satan will once again make another attempt, maybe the final assault on the human race, in order to wean men and women away from the worship of God. He has tried before, he will inevitably try again. And by seducing the human race, by sending these so-called entities from space, demonic beings, he will try to get people all over the world to worship him and to deprive God of the worship that is due to him. Fortunately, we know what the end result is going to be. But this final or omega assault that will come at the end of time may trigger the coming back of Jesus Christ to rescue his own.
People today, they called you king. They think you are the Messiah.
Who do you think I am?
You are the Son of God.
What if he's not the one? We're risking our lives. For what?
I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. The beginning and the end. My lord, I had been expecting death to come. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. I am making everything new. Yes. I am coming soon. May the grace of the Lord be with all God's people. Amen.